This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Icon Podcast. I am your host, Gianna, and today we have the opportunity to talk to Will. Welcome to the show. Thank you for your time. Excited to get to know you.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Excited to get to know you as well.
So let's do it, Will. Who are you? Where are you from? How did you grow up to be a real estate agent?
Well, it was my biggest nightmare to become a real estate agent. But
So what is it? It's like you either die young or you feel old enough to watch yourself become the villain or something like that.
That's exactly what it is. I was watching this show called like F-Boy on HBO Max, and it was like the piece, like the worst people on there are realtors or brokers. I was like, oh man, I understand where we got a reputation from. So
That's funny.
Both of them were F-boys, not nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm self-proclaimed nice guy. But yeah, I'm from Northern California originally, just south of Sacramento, town called Stockton. So most people know it from crime, but it's basically 300,000 people. We were like one of the largest cities to go bankrupt, and then Detroit happened. So thank you, Detroit, stepping in for taking that title. But yeah, so I came there. I moved to San Diego in 2014 to go finish my degree in business economics at University of San Diego. And then while I was going to school there, I got my license and then started selling real estate shortly after.
Nice. Okay, cool. So Will, how were you introduced to EXP then? Was it your first brokerage? Was it something you were introduced to and skeptical of? How did that transition go for you?
It's actually a funny story is that I had a buddy named Justin, and he kind of started real estate just a tad bit before me, but around the same time. And we both moved to Southern California. He moved maybe 6 months before me. He moved to LA. I moved to San Diego. And so he tells me, a year after I start. So I got my license in 2015, but start like towards the end of 2016. So I have my first year sell for house. And then he's like, hey, there's this company called EXP, stocks at $1, 70. And he's like, I think it could be a really good opportunity. And I was like, dude, no way. Like, I'm with Keller Williams, best brand ever, best training, whatever that means. And so I ignored it. I was like, nah, I'm not going to do anything. And then, fast forward to 2019, the stock flew up, and then Daniel Beer, basically put EXP on the map for Kyle Whistle and Daniel Beer. They put the EXP on the map for San Diego. And eventually I had a friend of a friend be like, hey, here's the scenario. At that time, I was like, you know what? I think it makes sense to switch over. And that's what happened.
That's awesome. And so, okay, you made the switch. You saw success leaving breadcrumbs with some big players coming over. And now you're here, you're killing it, you're enjoying it. You are an Icon agent. You've probably taken advantage of some stock options, the rev share, collaboration. So what's your favorite part? Why do you stay with EXP?
Well, I think outside of what you just mentioned, the most important thing in real estate is mentoring. So if you have a mentor that has already gone down the pathway you're looking to go down, it makes it 10 times easier. And that was really the reason why I joined. The system is built so that people want to share information with you. Unlike other brokerages that I was at, it just kind of felt like, oh, let me keep all this information myself. Unless you are giving to me, I don't want to give you anything.
Right. I don't want you to steal my lunch money.
No, exactly. I mean, it's mind blowing how afraid people are of competition. They're like, oh, if I tell you this secret, you're going to tell everyone. It's not. Most people won't even act on the secret. It's less than 10%.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Will, before we dive into all things EXP because you touched on the collaboration, which is great, but we want to dive in more about the Icon podcast. But before we do that, not the Icon podcast, the Icon Award, I'm reading things. So before we do that, let's talk about your work-life balance. Before I started recording, you said you hardly work at all, which I think you're foolish. So tell me a little bit about that work-life balance. How do you take care of yourself? How do you draw the line between work and play and set some boundaries so that you're not burning yourself out?
Yeah. So although it may be a joke, like it still feels like reality. So because I kind of curated my lifestyle to like what I want it to be, I do like the Routt home team started in February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. And so we were at me and my sister at that point. And then now we're at like 16 agents pending like 2 more agents. So we were able to grow pretty fast. So I knew that leverage was going to be the ultimate success key for me. If I'm out doing transactions, that means my time is taken and I can't grow outside of myself. So I was exchanging time for money. So I gave that up. And now I do a little bit of production now, like through friends and family, but hope to fully step out of production and just work on building the business.
Awesome. So you spoke about leverage, and obviously that means taking some tasks off your plate, right? So you can focus on some other things. So what avenue do you take for that? Do you have virtual assistants? Do you have real life assistants? Do you have employees? And, how have you seen your business scale up from that?
Funny enough, I don't know if you knew, but I have Rocket Sphere. So I have like a full-time.
Rocket Sphere, yes.
Yeah. So I have a full-time virtual assistant through you guys. She's awesome, like probably better than any candidate I interviewed in the United States. And maybe knows like, her English is decent, but still just a much better worker. And so she handles anything that is like admin task related. So stuff that, you can click through, onboarding, so she brings on all of our new agents. She makes sure all the stuff behind the background. She does our marketing report. Does our social media, everything like that. So that's great because I don't like that stuff at all. So she manages that. My sister manages her, so that I don't really manage any of that.
And how did you go about, how did it feel to give up control of those things?
I mean, anytime that you have control over your life feels good. I mean, all of us just want to be on a yacht in Ibiza, right? So I mean, maybe not all of us, but definitely me.
Most of us. It's the dream.
Yeah. Fair assumption.
Yeah, absolutely. So, being able to take things off your plate, the most ideal business model to have is one that you can step away from and it still runs itself, right?
100%. Yep.
So, Will, that's awesome. Great work-life balance there. Just being able to leverage it out, focus on the things that you want to focus on, and still keep that revenue coming in. And so, my next question is going to be about your production, right? In California and San Diego. So what does that average housing price look like? And how many houses do you have to sell to be able to cap?
So 810 is the average price as of last month. Maybe you're selling 5 houses a cap. Something like that. It's not very many houses a cap. But, to hit Icon, you have to have 25 transactions after that, which is the much more challenging part than capping.
Absolutely. And beyond that, you also have a cultural commitment, right? So you've got to hit production. Sometimes easier in California than it is, Alaska or some other places with lower housing. Detroit, we mentioned earlier. So, beyond that, the icons also are held to a standard of fulfilling a cultural commitment if you want the full award. So, what is your cultural commitment? Are you a mentor, coach? Do you vet other icons? And why do you go with that avenue?
I've been mentoring since I started with EXP. I didn't even know that was a commitment till after I got icon status. So I was like, oh, well, I'm already mentoring people at EXP regardless. I'm like, This is easy. Like, I like mentoring. So that was like my cultural commitment, and I still do that.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. And just being able to connect, and you're learning as much from the mentees as they are from you, right? And mistakes that they do for that you've never been through.
Yeah, no question. I think anytime that you're mentoring, especially when I started to grow the team, the challenge is how do you build a system that you don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over, right? Like, 'cause you're wasting your time. Like if I had to be hands-on with every new agent that we would hire, then our system would grow very slowly, and maybe not at all. Like we would run into a point where we would be stalling.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And, again, circling back to that, we want this business to be something you can step away from. So learning and these mentees are probably coming to you with problems that you have not experienced before. And, pushing yourself to be like, gosh, how do I think out of the box to be a problem solver on this one? Help them, help me avoid this in the future. It's pretty cool aspect that they've brought to the Icon Award to have that cultural commitment. And then the lessons and mentors that they offer are the best of the best in the business, top 2% here at EXP. That's quickly approaching 84,000 agents. So there's a lot to be mentored there.
No question. It's funny because, for a lot of people that hit icon status, I imagine that they're individual, and so they don't really do as much mentoring. So I think it's super important to do that. I was lucky enough to mentor a lot of people now that the team is bigger. So it's like, even though I know what's going to happen most of the time, you're right. There's these things that happen where I'm like surprised, like, oh, okay, a little refresher.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like all being a realtor is really just problem solving, and a lot of it as quickly as possible, putting out fires.
Well, you're part of a psychiatrist as well, so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes services like ours, you're like a psychiatrist. And
Yeah.
real estate agents are like, I need help. You're like,
The only thing I can't do is prescribe drugs. So
that fair enough.
maybe,
Not
yeah.
legally anyway. Well, Will, as far as being an Icon agent, there's lots of benefits that come with it. So you get a big glass shiny trophy, your cat pack in stock. You get to go to EXPCon and shareholders for some more stock. So what's your favorite part about being an Icon agent?
Well, they never gave me my trophy, so EXP, holler at me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, let's get you that trophy, Will, but other
Yeah.
than that, there's some monetary value to like here. They did get you that, right?
Yeah, no, that definitely hit. I think my favorite thing is what you said with the 2% accomplishment, is that we are striving towards something, and that's what I'm always trying to do. So I hit icon, but my next goal is mega icon team, and the challenge for that is you have to have 175 transactions. And so again, going back to San Diego being a high volume, so I hit the volume like requirement very easily. And the 10 agent requirement that passes, but now I'm going on for the 175 transactions. So that's the next.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Will, as a mentor and with that kind of mindset, say I come up to you, maybe I'm a rookie real estate agent, maybe I'm just new to EXP, but I've been in the game for a while. I'm like, dang, well, like this Icon Award looks great. And maybe it's the reason I came over to EXP. I may be new here, but gosh, I really want an Icon in my first year. What's some advice you have for me, or some major mistakes to avoid if it's even possible?
Yeah. So the number one advice for anybody in any company for real estate, if you want success, is you got to take massive action. You have to forget about, no's, failure, all that stuff. You have to fall forward. So, I wouldn't even hit icon status my first year, but I have mentor people who have. And so if you just continue to hit the phones, hit the pavement, and train and do well, you're going to hit it no matter what. And even if you don't hit it, you're going to land very close and hit the next year.
Absolutely. It would be a shame though to miss it by just a couple transactions.
I did have that happen. Like literally, I think I missed it by like one or two. So like my first time, I was like, and it was painful because definitely.
One more conversation, 2 or 3 more conversations or deals could have just gotten you a casual $16,000 to multiply. That sucks, but that's something you want to avoid. And you didn't miss it again, I bet, after that. So it only takes one mistake to learn from it.
Yeah.
And Will, were you ever skeptical of EXP when it was first introduced to you?
I think everybody's skeptical of every company, so it would be weird not to be skeptical of EXP. not to be weird, to be skeptical of Coldwell, Keller
Right.
Williams, all of them, because there's a lot of like empty promises in real estate, unfortunately. Like, I'm not talking bad on real estate, but when I signed up for my first brokerage, it was like, oh yeah, we think you're going to be incredible. We're going to give you this, give you that, blah, 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 blah. And so when there's a lot of people telling you the same thing, like you start to begin to be skeptical, right? Like, oh, well, this person's saying this and this person's saying this. Who do I believe? So it's normal to be skeptical, and I think you should be. I think you should. I think skeptical is healthy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you should do your research, and you should, ask people what they don't like about EXP. Heck, if they're over here and they're still with EXP, ask them what they don't like about it, because I had some guy earlier today compare it to like, hey, what I don't like about EXP and what I do like is like a paper cut on an elephant, right? Very minimal compared to all the other, tough skin and great things about EXP. So, for somebody that's maybe looking to make the move over here, Will, and they're nervous, they hear it's a pyramid scheme, it's a cult, don't drink the Kool-Aid, what would you have to say to somebody to kind of get them to make the move? Or if you could go back in time, how would you get yourself to come over to EXP sooner?
I would tell them to run, guys, run as far as you can. No, I'm just kidding.
Cut this part of the podcast. Thank you.
Cut. Here's the thing. Like, if you join EXP, it's going to be because you yourself are a successful person. There's nothing to be skeptical, like zero. I mean, it's if your goal is to have some of the best mentorship in the world, you're going to find that at EXP. We have the most top producers. I mean, the numbers are crazy. Like, I have to go against number 1, 2, and 3 in California pretty much in my same marketplace. But yeah, I have still found success, and they still help me to be able to catch up to them.
Absolutely.
So there's something special about EXP where there is not selfishness. There's abundance mindset. So, and I would say that's not true in every brokerage. And if you surround yourself around winners, you typically are winners, right? And so if you join EXP, there's a lot of winners here. So just make sure.
Is power.
Yeah. So make sure you find a circle that's winning, and then you listen to them, and you do massive action, and you're going to crush it. And there's zero skepticism.
Love that. You're right, Will. And that's some great advice. If you guys have questions, reach out to Will, see who's in his upline, have him sponsor you for, all things, or don't, right? Just reach out with some questions, and see what he has to offer you. See if you guys have the same mindset, same goals, because those are the people that you want to align here with at EXP. And out of almost 84,000 agents, there's going to be a lot for you to choose from. So, ask questions, interview the agents, and choose wisely. And really, though, a lot of people's coming over to EXP. So it's not if you come over to EXP, it's when.
Yeah. EXP found a way to do something that had never been done in real estate, right? They gave ownership to the agents. And that was a special part. All before, the realtor was a pawn, right? Like, hey, we'll keep you here so we can bring in other new agents because they'll see that you're successful. And that model doesn't work with EXP. So they're like, okay, hey, why don't we give you guys the power, make this agent owned, and then you guys get benefits through growing this. And it is absolutely brilliant, ahead of its time, very similar to what Keller Williams did in the 90s by introducing the cap for the first time. And it was literally industry changing. And there may be something after EXP that does something better. I don't know what that looks like, but who knows?
Right. Or EXP continues to evolve, right? And
in the case, EXP can evolve and become the greatest of all time.
It's on its way. It's on its way to that. And if, like I said, if you guys have questions, feel free to reach out. Even if it's not about EXP, ask about virtual assistants. Ask about how, Will's able to get away from the transaction side of things and just run his business. There's so much to learn from these icons and entrepreneurs. It's incredible. That's why I love talking to you guys. Are you going to be at EXPCon in October?
I am going to be there. So,
well, I'm going to hunt you down, Will, and pick your brain and see, how business has changed and how you've been able to leverage out all the wonderful things and team that you have since from August to October. And now that we're over 20 minutes, is there anything that you'd like to leave the listeners with today as we wrap it up?
No, yeah, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram, just William Routt. I definitely help a ton of people, regardless if they go to my company, other companies.
Mhm.
I'm not subjective to one outcome. I think it's important to have someone that's non-biased, and so I have people reach out to me all the time asking about joining other downlines at EXP, and I give them the straight advice. So if you want to utilize that, go ahead. Most people won't, but take advantage of it if you want.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to catching up with you in October.
I'll see you in October.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.
This Icon podcast is hosted and sponsored by Sphere Rocket Virtual Assistants, a leading provider for your virtual assistants and outsourcing needs. Owned by one of the top-ranking EXP agents, Justin Nelson. Sphere Rocket VA provides a one-stop virtual staffing solution for business owners, and we specialize in helping business owners grow their business by leveraging through virtual assistants. Trusted by the top names in the real estate industry like Kyle Whistle, Andrew Franklin, John Kitchens, and many more. Get ready to up your success and we'll help you achieve your business goals. Book your free consultation at sphererocketva.com and find out how we can make your life easier.